Welcome to the first ever Who Wants to Be an Accounting Millionaire, brought to you by Financial Sense, where your accounting and finance trivia knowledge could earn you up to $1,000 in actual cash and a whole lot of bragging rights. I am your host, Drew Carrick, known in the accounting industry by my pseudo stage name, Petty Cash, the rapping CPA, and I'm excited to help use exciting and entertainment content like this to shift the profession into the future. But first, let's dive into the past. Today's episode is all about Accounting History 101, where we're going to be taking a deep dive into the roots of bookkeeping, scandals, legends who made Excel walk so that Financial Sense could run. And with that being said, I'd love to introduce our very first contestant, Nick Boscia.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here. I would love to be an accounting millionaire, so I'm definitely in the right place.
I think the caveat is, as we all know, financial statements are in thousands, right? So the 3 zeros at the end there, we'll just backtrack that to millionaire to be 1,000.
I'll take $1,000.
There you go, right? Well, let's see if you can get through all 10 of the questions. But first, let's get a little bit of background on you. Name, obviously we know your name, but where you're from and what you do for work and any side hustles, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm Nick Boscia. I live in New Jersey, and our office is Boscia Boscia, located in New Jersey, and we do both bookkeeping and tax. I'm kind of known in the industry for modernizing my dad's legacy firm that started in 1975. We're still in the same building in Matawan, New Jersey. This is my physical office that I'm in, and I really want to win $1,000. Hopefully, all the knowledge I've accumulated in my 12 years is gonna make me win today.
Awesome. Yeah. So do you think, one of the things I think is interesting is you don't really learn that much about accounting history. You learn about accounting, right? But we don't really go into the depths of more of like a history class type of thing. But what makes you think maybe you might be, set up for success in the accounting history trivia?
I'm a bit of a nerd. So like I went to Penn State for college, and I was like let's say I excelled in all accounting stuff. So I've been studying a lot, and I like learning. I retain information pretty well, but it's with a trivia game like this, it's like either you know it or you don't. So we'll see if I get lucky, I guess.
Awesome. And so speaking of culture, you said New Jersey. I am a native New Yorker myself. So do you identify more with the Philadelphia sort of sports teams? Are you more of a New York sports team?
I would say more the New York sports team. And that's one thing that's unique about me. I'm like probably the least into sports of anyone I know. Like I don't know much about sports, but I'll go to hang out and have a good time. So
cool. Well, we'll get into a little bit later some of the hobbies outside of the accounting and outside of the sports, of course. But with that, I'd love to walk you through the game show format, and for everybody who's watching, what exactly the format of the show is going to be. Again, this is the first time that anybody's ever done a game show like this with actual prizes for the accounting profession. Accounting trivia is not something that I think a lot of people have top of mind, but I think it's super exciting, especially for those of us that like to nerd out on accounting. So the format of this is going to work pretty simple, right? There will be 10 questions in total. It will be of increasing difficulty, easy, medium to hard, as you go over the course of those 10 questions. When you get to certain questions along the way, you'll hit a benchmark, which will serve as a safety net. So when you get to question 3, you'll have accumulated $30 at that point. And no matter what happens from that point on, you know that at least you're going to be walking away with the $30 safety net. You keep getting questions right. And of course, you have the opportunity to walk away with whatever you've accumulated at that point. You'll get to the next safety net at question 6, which will lock you in at $250. Now, if at any point you're struggling to answer a question, there are 3 lifelines available. Those 3 lifelines are a switch the question option, which will allow you to swap it out for a different question. Now, you don't know if it's going to be a harder question, easier question, maybe same difficulty, just different type of question. But if you're absolutely clueless and you're like, I'll take my chances, you can always do that. We have, of course, a 50-50 where we'll eliminate 2 wrong answers. And then we'll have what we call Bookkeepers hint, which is where I will give you a little nudge in the direction that might help give you a little more insight into what the potential answer might be. Make sense to you?
Yep, sounds good.
Cool. So it'll be multiple choice questions, just like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And I think, obviously if you get all 10 questions right, then you'll get that full $1,000 to take home. So if you're ready, we can get this show on the road.
Let's go. I want that money.
We love the money. I love the money. Accountants love the money. You naturally love the money. So getting into it, we're going to start this off with what I think everybody wants to know. Which of the following is often considered the language of business? Is it A, marketing, B, law, C, accounting, or D, economics?
I'm like debating. It's question one, so it should be simple, and it's an accounting game show, so I feel like I'm gonna have to go with accounting. Economics seems like it could be an option, but I'm gonna have to go with C, accounting.
Locking in C, accounting?
Yeah.
Let's lock it in. And of course, as everybody knows, accounting is the language of business. It's your back office. It's telling you everything you need to know. So you're off to a hot start, Nick.
All right. I like it.
You know, some might say love is the universal language, but in business, it's debits and credits, baby. All right, so you've now accumulated $10. We will be going on to the next question, which is also worth $10. Question number 2. So this is to go for 20 total. Who is credited with formalizing double entry bookkeeping system in the 15th century? Is it A, Leonardo da Vinci, B, Luca Pacioli, C, Niccolo Machiavelli, or D, Galileo Galilei?
I don't know who Luca Pacioli is. I don't think it's Leonardo da Vinci, and I don't think it's Machiavelli, because I think that's artist and musician or something like that. I'm not 100%. This is not my specialty, but I think I'm going to go with Galileo, because I think he was a scientist. So I think that might be his move to invent something like that. So I'm going to go with D. Final answer.
You sure you're going to be locking in D?
Yes.
Final answer. The correct answer is B, Luca Pacioli. Considered the father of modern day bookkeeping. He is a demigod of sorts, I would say, in the accounting profession. And I think there'll be a lot of very upset accountants who would be a little annoyed that you didn't know that Luca Pacioli is our considered godfather of the accounting profession. But that's all right. So unfortunately, that's where the road to 1,000 drops down to 0. But fortunately, we do have incentive to keep going as we discussed. So each question moving forward will continue to be worth $10. You still have all of your lifelines available, and it'll start accumulating from 0 from this point on, and you'll be able to get 10 as each thing as we go. So are you ready to keep continuing?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So question number 3, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, or SOX, passed in 2002, was primarily a response to what concern? Is it A, cybersecurity breaches, B, fraudulent accounting practices, C, corporate tax evasion, or D, insider trading?
I feel like I should know this. I remember learning this in college, but there's a lot of fraud out there. I want to guess it's B, fraudulent accounting practices. Final answer.
Locking in B, final answer. And B is correct. It is fraudulent accounting practices. SOX was the government's way of saying, hey, accountants, we're watching your spreadsheets now, right? There's a lot of fishy stuff going on, a lot of accounting practices that were arguably pretty questionable. Government had to step in and do something about that, and that's how we got SOX. Knocks your socks off.
All right, I'm back on track.
Great work. We're back on track. You've now accumulated the $10 back that was lost earlier, so we are going to keep it on a roll here. Moving on to question 4. What accounting scandal led to the downfall of Arthur Andersen LLP in the early 2000s? Is it A, the Enron scandal, B, WorldCom, C, Lehman Brothers, or D, Theranos?
Never heard of Theranos. It kind of reminds me of Thanos and Marvel, so that's just my nerd self coming out, but I'm going to have to go with A, Enron.
Are we locking in A, Enron as the final answer?
Locking it in.
Lock it in. And Enron is the correct answer. Obviously, Enron and Arthur Andersen, those are two peas in a pod, a little bit too close, I would say, in the pod, the accounting pod, right? Enron convincing Arthur Andersen that a lot of their fraudulent accounting practices were totally okay. And that brings your value up now to $20. So with question 5,
All
we will
right.
be moving on to: what U.S. government agency was created in 1934 to regulate securities markets and protect investors? Was it A, the IRS, B, FASB, C, the SEC, or D, the GAO?
I'm going to have to go with the SEC right off the bat, and that's final answer.
Final answer, locking in the SEC. And C is correct. It was the SEC. That was a good old FDR policy, right, during that administration. Obviously, Great Depression had a lot of stuff going on here. Awesome to see. You've now accumulated up to $30 right along with these questions. And, just like the CPA exam, when you're doing pretty well, it's time to make things a little bit more difficult. So we'll start to get into some of those medium level questions here.
All right. I'm ready. All right.
So question number 6. In what country was the first known professional accounting body established in 1854? Was it A, the United States, B, Scotland, C, Italy, or D, France?
This is a toughie. I would say I want to use a lifeline. I'm going to go with the Bookkeepers nudge.
Okay. Well, you said you do like traveling, and if you wanted to figure out where exactly to go ahead and figure out where the first professional body of accounting was established, you definitely have to go overseas, perhaps to one of the places that America, had some founders from.
Let's go. There's a very vague Bookkeepers hint because our founders, I would have guessed, were from. I'm going to go B, Scotland.
Are we going to lock in B, Scotland?
Lock it in.
And Scotland is correct, right? Scotland was part of the United Kingdom. Scotland's not just famous for its kilts and whiskey, but it's the OG for certified public bean counters too. That was over in Glasgow, actually, is where the Institute of Accountants and Actuaries came from. I believe it was Queen Elizabeth, in fact. That's what they're there for. So you have 2 hints remaining, which are the 50-50 and the switch the question. So you've now accumulated $40, and we'll be moving on to question number 7. So which Roman innovation helped improve financial control over military and civic expenditures? Was it A, paper money, B, the audit system, C, bartering, or D, the abacus?
My instinct is saying paper money, but I don't know if they had. I don't think they had paper money at the time. The audit system sounds intriguing to me, but I think bartering, I'm going to go 50-50 because there's too many unknowns for me.
So, all right, let's get 2 of these removed. And we'll be removing paper money and bartering.
I don't even know what the abacus was. I think that's some type of I thought that was like their old calculator, but I don't know how that would be control over so I'm going to go with the audit system.
Locking in B, the audit system?
Mm-hmm. Lock it in.
And B, the audit system is correct. The Romans, they didn't just build roads, they audited too. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was reconciled monthly.
I like that.
The Romans make good stuff.
Yeah.
So you've now accumulated $50, so you're on a roll here. One of the things I thought was interesting is you said, obviously, you're not going to be working. Are you taking your laptop with you when you head on over?
I'm not taking my laptop, so
not even.
Probably the only thing I might do is like a weekend check emails if there's anything I could forward on to the team so I don't have a big pile of emails to get addressed when I get home. But my out of office will say, if you need something urgent, reach out to the team directly. Otherwise, they're going to wait essentially 2 weeks to hear back from me.
All of you of the team.
So it's me and my partner's my brother, and then we have a team of 5, so 7 of us total.
What systems do you have in place to sort of enable you to do that sort of, obviously delegation and be able to work remotely? And obviously you talk about modernizing. How exactly do you go from taking this legacy firm and modernizing it?
Yeah, so like implementing technology is like a big part of what the balance sheet CPA is all about. Because when I first started, my dad did everything paper and manual, and it was really hard to scale. We kept growing our business, but we just kept working more. So I was like, it's the definition like work smarter, not harder. So we implement technology, like we use Financial Sense for a workflow management tool. Because before we used that, for example, everything was just in my head of all our processes of what had to get done. So if I wasn't here to direct the team and show them what needs to get done, basically nothing would get done. So now, like when I'm gone, Financial Sense is automatically creating our monthly projects, our quarterly projects. And then in our projects, all the steps are listed out. So everyone knows what has to get done. So it's not just all the information in my head. So it's like getting it out on paper. And that's just one of the tools we implemented. I could go on for an hour webinar easily talking about all my technology. But I don't want to bore everyone during the fun game show.
Yeah, no, I think that would be at some point a cool game show topic, is just going through the different financial systems. And what I think is always fascinating, right, is firms of different sizes each have different sorts of platforms and different technologies and tech stacks that are going to work for them. Also different types of accountants, right? There's the tax side, the bookkeeping side. In your case, doing a little bit of both. Auditing has its own entirely separate thing. Consulting, I don't even know if they use systems, to be honest. They just kind of go and they chat with folks, and then they're just write up a report. Your Big Four is using its own thing, and private accountants are all using their own thing. So you're a little bit of we've advanced pretty far from the Romans, which is cool. And to answer your question, the abacus is one of those. There is an emoji for it for those who are curious, so you could check your iPhone emoji board for that. And it is looks kind of like a connect the dots thing, but it has little balls that kind of scroll up and down on the columns that it has there on strings, and you slide them to do calculations.
I thought it was.
But of course, the audit system helps you keep track of your finances from a control and expenditure standpoint. So
got it.
All right, so we'll head on over to our final 3 questions here. You have accumulated $50. You still have a switch the question remaining. So question number 8: who invented the chart of accounts, a framework still used in modern accounting systems? Is it A, Robert Half, B, Luca Pacioli, C, Eugene Schmallenbach, or D, John Maynard Keyes?
This Luca Pacioli guy is haunting me now. I didn't know who he was just before this game show, and now he made me lose question 2. But what did he do? Debits and credits?
He was the creator of double entry bookkeeping.
Double entry bookkeeping. This is a tough one. Do I go with the gut and say Luca again, or do I switch the question? I'm going to go with Luca Pacioli. Final answer.
He's locking in Luca Pacioli.
Pacioli.
Unfortunately, while Luca Pacioli is the creator of double entry bookkeeping, it's actually our boy Eugene who wrote a book on the creation of the chart of accounts. Eugene Schmallenbach. It's all right. You still have your $50 that you've accumulated thus far, and you still got 2 more questions to go. Eugene actually also wrote a book called Dynamic Accounting, and the Romans make good stuff, and the Germans make good stuff as well. So, moving on to question number 9. With the accumulated value of 50, this question is for an additional 10 to stack on to that. What ancient tool did accountants use in Mesopotamia to track goods and trade? Is it A, scrolls, B, clay tokens and bullae, C, papyrus sheets, or D, wooden tablets?
My gut's saying paper sheets, but I don't know Mesopotamia so well. I don't think it's scrolls. Could be clay tokens. Wooden tablets, I would say. I'm going to go with I'm just gonna go with my gut and say paper sheets.
Oh, the good old papyrus. We locking that in, C.
Yeah, log it in.
The correct answer is B, clay tokens and bulle. So the bulle actually it's an envelope used for securing and recording the transaction. So it was a key part of the goods and the trades. While the stuff might have been written down, these are the actual tools. Before Excel, there were clay balls stuffed into envelopes, literal envelopes, because accountants were really hands-on back then. Okay, so we still have one last question to go. You still have your switch the question in the event that this one is just absolutely blowing your mind. And you still have $10 that you can earn here. You've accumulated 50 so far, so this will be the last 10 to get you up to 60. Let's see if we can make it happen with question number 10. So question 10, the earliest known accounting records date back to which ancient civilization? Is it A, Mesopotamia, B, Egypt, C, Greece, or D, China?
I mean, Mesopotamia is coming back, so maybe that's a sign. But the last time I did that, it didn't work out so well for me. Let's say I'm gonna go with B, Egypt.
Locking it in?
Locking it in.
The correct answer was A, Mesopotamia. So sometimes you do need to go with your gut. It is interesting that a lot of the times we waffle on things, right? It's a bit of a balancing act, right? And sometimes you go with the gut, and sometimes you start to veer off from it. And in this instance, yes, Mesopotamia. They are the OG folks really getting the accounting going. So you do walk away though with the $50 prize of what you've accumulated. It's more than what you had before. Well, yeah. It was great having you on the show, Nick. How do you feel?
I feel good. Obviously, if I couldn't imagine the pressure if this was to win $1 million, I would definitely be a lot more upset. Not that I don't want to win $1,000, but it was fun. So I'm glad at least I got the opportunity to be here. So,
well, thanks for playing. And remember, it's not about winning. It's about knowing that double entry bookkeeping is the original blockchain. If managing workflows today still feels like ancient Mesopotamia, maybe it's time to try something built for this century. Just saying. So why not try Financial Sense, an accounting practice management software that helps you collaborate with your team, manage clients, track tasks, hit deadlines, all the stuff that Nick's talking about. Thanks again for being on the show, Nick. Hope everybody had fun watching, and we'll see you next time on Who Wants to Be an Accounting Millionaire?